on the court and be like, let's do it.
The business of professional sports is ruthless. It's a cold, hyper-competitive environment where leverage is the only currency that truly matters. In this world, mercy rarely exists. Teams and leagues don't pay based on past grievances or political ideology. They pay based on one undeniable factor: the ability to generate revenue. If you have leverage, you can control the conversation and shape the future of the league. But if you walk into a room full of billionaire owners without real bargaining power and try to force their hand, the outcome can be very different. Instead of panicking, those owners may simply wait and watch as the situation unfolds. Right now, something very dramatic is happening inside the WNBA. What looks like a normal labor negotiation on the surface has turned into a major standoff between players and league leadership. For the past year, some veteran leaders in the WNBA Players Association believed they had strong leverage. The league experienced a massive surge in attention and economic growth, largely fueled by the arrival of a hugely popular young superstar who brought millions of new fans to women's basketball. That sudden explosion in popularity created a sense of momentum. Many believed the players now had the power to demand major structural changes. These demands reportedly included a larger share of league revenue, stronger contract guarantees, and significant financial improvements for players. But negotiations have now reached a critical moment. With deadlines approaching and pressure rising, league owners appear unwilling to meet several of those demands. Instead, they have held firm, setting up a tense confrontation between players and ownership. Now the question is simple: who actually holds the real leverage? Because in professional sports, momentum, popularity, and media attention can shift very quickly. And when billions of dollars and the future of an entire league are involved, the outcome of this battle could reshape the WNBA for years to come. Listen to the silence right now, it's loud. For months, the WNBA Players Association was extremely vocal. They pushed their message through the media, leaked contract discussions, and treated the collective bargaining negotiations almost like a public spectacle. Every demand, every percentage, every disagreement was discussed openly in the press. The goal was clear: they wanted the public involved. They wanted fans debating the numbers and supporting their position. But everything changed when the March 10th deadline arrived. Suddenly, the noise stopped. The union leadership went quiet. No more leaks. No more public back and forth. No more press pressure. And that silence raises a serious question: why? In high-stakes negotiations, sudden silence at the final hour usually isn't a sign of confidence. It's often a sign of internal concern. When negotiations reach a breaking point, both sides begin to realize the true limits of their leverage. According to critics, the reason the leaks stopped is simple. The proposals themselves may reveal a difficult reality: the league's owners have drawn a firm line in the sand, and the union may not have many options left to escalate pressure. This situation has placed enormous pressure on the leadership of the WNBA Players Association. Leaders now face the challenge of balancing ambitious demands with the economic realities of the league and the expectations of players across the roster. But perhaps the biggest challenge of this entire situation has been public perception. In any labor dispute, public support can be a powerful form of leverage. If fans strongly support one side, it can shift the balance of negotiations. The question now is whether the players' union still has that public support, or whether that goodwill has begun to fade as the negotiations drag on. And as the deadline passes, the future of the league, the players, and the upcoming season remains uncertain. The pendulum has swung, and those 4 words can define the fate of any labor dispute. In professional sports, public opinion is often the most powerful shield a players' union has during a strike. If fans believe billionaire owners are responsible for canceling a season, the pressure can quickly build on the league to compromise in order to protect its brand and reputation. But if the public begins to blame the players instead, the balance of power shifts dramatically. In that situation, the owners can simply wait, knowing the pressure will eventually fall back on the players themselves. According to critics of the current situation, many veteran voices within the WNBA may have underestimated how important public perception would become. As the league's popularity grew and a new wave of fans entered the sport, expectations from the audience also changed. Many everyday fans, people working long hours to support their families, watched the public debates about salaries, benefits, and contract negotiations unfold in the media. While players were pushing for major financial improvements and structural changes, some fans interpreted the public messaging differently. Instead of seeing a fight for long-term financial progress, some viewers began to view the situation as constant conflict and controversy surrounding the league. The public discussions about pay, benefits, and league support created frustration among parts of the audience who simply wanted to enjoy the growth of the sport. As a result, the emotional connection between parts of the fanbase and the union's message may have weakened. In labor disputes, losing public sympathy can dramatically change the dynamics of negotiations. Without strong fan pressure on the league, ownership groups have far more flexibility to hold their position during bargaining talks. Now the focus shifts to the strategy itself. With the spotlight on the negotiation process, every move by both sides is being examined more closely than ever. And as the debate continues, the future direction of the league and the relationship between players, owners, and fans remains one of the most important questions facing the WNBA today. Take a moment and think about the timeline of these negotiations. The final, non-negotiable deadline has arrived. If a deal is not reached, the 2026 WNBA season could be delayed, creating serious uncertainty for the league's financial structure and future plans. Yet despite the importance of the moment, reports suggest that key discussions between union leaders and league representatives were only happening late in the day on the deadline itself. To critics, this doesn't look like calculated, high-level negotiating strategy. Instead, it raises questions about whether valuable time during the off-season was lost. The players' union and league officials had months to work through proposals, but negotiations reportedly moved slowly at times, with delays between responses and meetings. As a result, the timeline became increasingly compressed as the deadline approached, putting both sides under intense pressure to finalize an agreement. Some observers believe that part of the tension comes from a misunderstanding of leverage. Many WNBA owners are also connected to the much larger NBA business ecosystem. Because of that, they may be financially insulated from short-term disruption within the WNBA itself. From that perspective, ownership groups may feel less urgency in negotiations compared to the players, whose careers and income depend directly on the league continuing to operate. If negotiations fail, the consequences could be significant. A lockout or delayed season would mean players losing salaries and benefits in the short term while owners shift their focus to other profitable parts of the basketball business, including the NBA playoffs. And in the middle of this complicated and tense situation stands one of the most influential figures in the sport today, Caitlin Clark. Her arrival has brought unprecedented attention, new fans, and massive media interest to women's basketball. Many analysts believe that the league's recent growth, and even the possibility of a multi-billion-dollar media deal, has been accelerated by the excitement surrounding her impact. Recently, Clark spoke publicly about the ongoing situation, and her comments immediately drew attention. For some observers, her words highlighted the growing divide between the league's veteran leadership and the new wave of players and fans entering the sport. As negotiations continue, her perspective has added another important voice to one of the most critical moments in the WNBA's history. Listen carefully to the tone of Caitlin Clark's statement. Many observers noted the level of calm and professionalism in her response. While debates around negotiations continue, Clark's message focused on something much simpler: the importance of moving forward and keeping the league's momentum alive. She emphasized that everyone involved shares a responsibility to reach an agreement. The goal, she suggested, should be protecting the progress the league has made rather than risking it. At just 24 years old, Clark is already showing an understanding of how fragile momentum in professional sports can be. The WNBA is currently experiencing unprecedented growth. New fans are watching the league, media coverage has expanded, and conversations about major media deals are becoming more realistic. But in the modern sports economy, attention can shift quickly. If games stop, if fans lose interest, or if the momentum disappears, it can take years to rebuild that connection with the audience. Clark has made it clear that her focus is on playing basketball. She has talked about preparing for the upcoming season and getting ready for preseason games in April. For her, the most important thing is being on the court and continuing to grow the sport. Her comments have also drawn attention because of the influence she now holds within the basketball world. Clark's popularity has introduced millions of new fans to women's basketball, bringing fresh energy and global attention to the league. Sponsors, media companies, and broadcasters are all watching closely as the league navigates this critical moment. At the same time, the broader situation highlights how complex labor negotiations can be. Players want better pay, stronger contracts, and long-term financial security. Owners want financial stability and sustainable growth for the league. Finding the balance between those goals is never easy. As the deadline approaches and negotiations continue, the future of the league remains uncertain. What happens next could shape the WNBA for years to come. But one thing is clear, the growth of women's basketball is real, the global audience is larger than ever, and the decisions made during this moment will determine how that momentum continues into the future. At the end of the day, sports fans don't owe any league their loyalty. They don't owe their time, and they certainly don't owe their money. Fans choose what they watch. If a league stops putting its product on the court, audiences simply move on to something else. And right now, the global sports calendar is more crowded than ever. If the WNBA season were to be delayed or cancelled, television networks and sponsors wouldn't just sit and wait. They would shift their focus to other major events already capturing global attention, like the NBA playoffs, March Madness, international soccer tournaments, and other major sporting competitions. Sports fans have countless entertainment options. The challenge for any league is holding on to the attention it has worked so hard to build. Recently, the WNBA has been experiencing significant growth, drawing new audiences and increased media coverage. Much of that momentum has come from rising stars who have brought fresh excitement and new fans to the sport. But moments of growth can also be fragile. If games stop and the league disappears from the spotlight, the attention of fans can quickly move elsewhere. In the entertainment industry, momentum is everything. For league executives, team owners, and players alike, the challenge now is protecting that momentum. Negotiations between the players' union and league leadership are ultimately about finding a balance, ensuring players are fairly compensated while also maintaining the long-term stability and growth of the league. Everyone involved understands the stakes. The outcome of these negotiations could influence the future of the WNBA for years to come. Now the question turns to the fans. What do you think about the situation? Do you believe the negotiations are helping or hurting the league's momentum? If the season were delayed, would you wait for the WNBA to return, or would your attention shift to other sports? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy deep discussions about the business side of sports, the power dynamics behind major leagues, and the stories shaping the future of professional basketball, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay tuned for more. I'll see you in the next video.